sorry that I've been absent for such a long time on YouTube. I am not forgotten about you. I have, however, been quite busy with the latest batch of guitars. This is one such guitar here. This is some absolutely beautiful Koa, and I finished spray finishing it about a week ago, and it needs 7 days to dry. Not very biblical of me, but it's the 7th day today, so we will be buffing this baby. Always a good time in a luthier's life because you get to see the wood that you've been working with for several months or however long come to life in its eternal glory. So instead of procrastinating further, I thought I'd stick a camera on and let you into my process. I'm just going to show you the wood just a bit more because, well, look at it. Absolutely stunning set of Koa. I'm really thrilled how it's come out. It's just, the top obviously needs a buff too. This is some moon spruce and some of my antique end paper inlaid there, but I think just because it's more fun doing the back, let's do that first. So just to talk you through my little setup here, I have a range of items to my left, which include a pile of microfiber cloths, my polishing compounds, which are from 3M, my sanding discs, which are the Abralon Mirka variety, my Mirka random orbital sander, which I'll draft in a minute, and then this is the random orbital sander that I was using between coats. I just stuck a 800 grit, 400 grit, then 800 grit on the higher coats, and sanded the paint back in between coats. This is from Skill. And lastly, I'm going to be using this StewMac buffing wheel, which I haven't set up yet, but that is integral to getting a really like wet look finish that you just can't really achieve by hand. So I can't wait to get cracking with that. This can be quite messy, so I'm going to pop an apron on and be right back. Right, that's a bit better. Now I'm going to start with probably a 1000 grit on this because I don't see a lot of orange peel or anything like that, so I think we're going straight with 1000. I'm gonna do that by hand because I want to make sure the scratches are going up and down. Then I'll switch over to the random orbital sander when I move up to 3000 grit. These are really great, but they're about 40 quid for like 20 of them. So that's annoying, but you know, they are good. I'm actually very new to finishing, so I've learned how to do it very recently. I used to do this kind of thing when I was doing my apprenticeship at Turnstone Guitars, but the actual spraying itself has been something I've learned very recently, and it's been a real joy to learn and appreciate that side of craft a bit more, you know? It is very annoying when you're buffing when you don't do a good job of these early steps, and then you do find that when you put the fine compound on that you can see a couple of scratches and it's back to square one. So I want to be doing this really, really thoroughly and take time with it because it's really important, even though I can't wait to get up to the fine grits. It just won't be as good if I don't put the work in now, which is kind of a luthery manifesto, I'd say. I am just doing a couple of little circles, so I've got a little bit of orange peel here, and then I'll buff the scratches out with straight scratches in a minute. If you're not super familiar with finish work, this is essentially what we've created is a layer of lacquer. This is AC2 lacquer, but it's not got any formaldehyde in it, it's a new product. What we're doing here is just buffing the surface of the paint. I know it sounds like I'm stating the obvious, but it's something you just never think about when you don't do your own finish work. Obviously it sounds like it's obvious, but it really helped me to really sit and think about that when I was learning how to buff things. So we've got to make sure all of the scratches in the paint are invisible, which hopefully I'm achieving now. Got a little bit of overspray here, which is absolutely fine. We'll just flat that back, doing my little circular motions again. When I actually get to higher compounds, I'm going to pop some gloves on because fingerprints make a huge difference and become a huge pain in the ass quite easily. You can even hear the overspray, like the change in the sound of the rubbing, which is quite useful, and it also feels very different, so it's quite easy to detect where the problem areas are, and then you can just go at them really nice and briskly. Don't know if my constant narration is helping things, sorry if you're here to watch and not listen to me moan on. Now obviously this is meant for a random orbital sander and it is not very economically friendly of me to be using it by hand, but I did, when I ordered the stuff, I did find that the scratches were just too visible with the 1000 grit. Like it's okay when I get up to probably 2000 is fine and 3000, but the 1000 was just a little bit too harsh. So I do like doing this 1000 bit by hand. Oh my god, hair is so annoying. And then once I've buffed it out, I can just like go back and go with the grain a bit to really mask those very fine scratches. Okay, so I've done all that. I can't see any issues when I use, actually the lights I'm using to do this video are fantastic. I'm sort of sighting down it and it looks really nice. So what I think I'll do is move up a grit. Just using this old cardboard sleeve to provide a sort of more stable sanding block. It's got a lot of give because it's cardboard. Right, I think we're ready for 3000 now, and this is when bad stuff happens because I think I've got all the scratches and then I go in with 3000 and then I'm like, oh no, that's still there. So fingers crossed I've done a thorough job. There's always at least one pesky scratch that's managed to evade me. And what I might try and do this time is, I've always used this dry, but I was watching something on YouTube and they were using water to create more of a slurry, which makes sense. So I'm gonna give that a go. Also means I don't have to wear a mask, which is nice. I'm gonna put a bit of water on there. Again, because I haven't used water before, I might just do it by hand and see how it behaves. And I think I can do circular motion now because the scratches will be so fine. Honestly, this is so satisfying. I wish you guys could give it a try yourself. This is the kind of job that if I ever outsourced help, I'd probably get people to help me with. I was supposed to have someone come in January, but her college told her that the dates were slightly wrong. So that's a real shame. But I am sure she will come at some point, so maybe I'll be having someone to join me in my videos. But I always think like stuff like this, when you're learning how wood works, is a really useful exercise because you've got to have a lot of patience and discipline, which is essentially just what woodwork's all about anyway, isn't it? Oh, I really love wood. Wait, is that a scratch? No. Good paint. Doing your job well. Okay, so I guess I'll just do this for a while then. Right, so now it's up to 3000 grit and there have been no nasty surprises regarding scratches that I didn't miss. We're gonna go ahead and meet our friends, the buffing compounds. This green goddess of a buffing compound is the first step. So let's pop that on. Oh, I'm just gonna wait for that to dry a little bit more. And then we'll pop it on and then we'll rub it out again. I do have like a foam applicator for this, but again, I don't know why, I'm just really cautious today. And I'm kind of figuring like I wanna do everything by hand because it's just easier. I'm going to start with this area because I don't want to overwhelm myself if I'm doing it by hand. I've got a cloth for each purpose. I think this is number 1. Just spread that on nicely. It's making good sounds. It's like the sound of abrasion, but very light abrasion. Feels good as well. Can tell it's working. It's magic. This is when you can really start to see if you've missed any scratches, which can be extremely annoying, because as you've seen, there are a few stages that we have to get get here anyway. But it looks like the slurry technique was actually really useful at eliminating those, so we're looking good. I actually think this is looking really great already. I've done the back side of it. Look at that wood, I just can't deal. 1 compound down, 2 to go. Got a couple of stories to tell you why I'm doing this. While I'm doing this, not why I'm doing this. For my last Koa guitar, which is the same client as this one is for, I outsourced the spray finishing to somebody, and I met him in a cafe. Like, I'd seen his work on furniture and stuff, and it was pretty good, and I was like, great, I found a spray finisher. Because it's really hard to find spray finishers in London, and just generally in the UK, for this level of, I guess, precision and expertise. Like, it's quite a niche thing to be able to finish a guitar. I told him the level of quality I expected, and I said, like, I'll happily, you know, if you spend extra hours on it to get it perfect, that is absolutely fine. I'll pay for it, and, you know, all good. He brought the guitar back to me and he completely ballsed it up. Like, he'd obviously sanded some of the wood or something, like when I'd given it to him, because part of the inlay had come out of the copper, and it was really quite traumatic, and I said to myself, never again. I think that he didn't realise that I'd realised that he did a bad job. Like, I think he was quite lazy. And he messed it up, and there was just little things, like there was so much orange peel as well. There were drips on the fingerboard. It was really bad. And I honestly think that his behaviour was based on the fact that he didn't think I'd know any better. I said to myself, I'm not doing that again. I need to learn how to do it myself. So I got a teacher, and I've been learning how to do it all of this year. And the thing I found about it, and that's why I moved studio as well, I moved workshop, because this one has a spray booth, so I wouldn't have to go through that again and put my client through that again and all of that. So I learned how to do it this year, and I found that spray finishing is very much like woodwork. It's a lot of time, and as always, if you do have more knowledge than most about spray finishing, please do pop any things that you think I'm doing wrong, or could do differently, or could do in addition. Please, yeah, drop them in the comments, that'd be really helpful. So let's get on to the fun bit, which is the blue one. This is extra fine, ultra finer, and I'm excited to see what it does, so let's go in. Oh my god, it came out at once. Squeezed a bit too hard there. Maybe I will use the foam orbital sander. Let's do that. All right. It's not as fun as doing it by hand, I will say that. Now I'm gonna go back to rubbing, it's more fun. Oh yeah! That's so nice, oh my god! Oh, that is so beautiful, honestly. What? This is just such a delight. So the second story I was going to tell you, sorry I got distracted by bumming myself out about my spray finisher. The second story I was going to tell you is that many of you will be familiar with Mark Knopfler, who I grew up listening to, and I think probably a lot of you listen to, who are watching. If you're into guitars, he's like a legend. If you haven't heard of him, he's in the band Dire Straits, and he is auctioning his guitar collection in January. The auction house that he is auctioning his collection with, who are called Christie's, who have premises in London, New York, and other places, I'm sure. They're a very high-end auction house. They've very kindly invited me to come and exhibit. So I'm going to be bringing this guitar in celebration of Mark Knopfler's collection, because it's being auctioned for charity, and it's just a really good excuse to draw attention to the guitar as an instrument and celebrate that. So they very kindly invited me to exhibit my work. I'm going to be bringing this guitar and a Neolithic oak guitar that you might have seen in previous videos. That is on the 24th of January. I'm going to be doing a live woodworking demo and having these guys displayed. If you're in London, I believe it's open to the public. So not only can you go and see this guitar here finished, but also you can go and see Mark Knopfler's guitar collection, which is pretty cool. And I'm really excited, and thank you Christie's for inviting me. It's a huge honour. And don't worry, I did get permission from my very sweet, patient clients to exhibit the work. So thank you to them, because it's, you know, it's their baby. So I understand if they wouldn't want it shown to the public before they even see it in the flesh, you know? That is the last buffing compound on. It's looking really nice, but we're not done yet. I'm gonna go set up my buffing wheel from StewMac, which I haven't done yet, as I said. And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna party. Alright guys, here it is. Really glassy, really nice. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Buffing, it's great fun. I also did the top, as you can see. I'm really excited to get a neck on. Should we put a neck on? I haven't finished buffing the neck. I'm gonna put it on, just so you can see in its full glory. I actually did something a bit different with this neck, and I started fretting it before I buffed it, because I always end up like rebuffing it anyway, so I just figured I'd do it now. So it's half done, then I'll glue the neck on once the bridge is on, and then I'll finish the fretwork on the guitar for the higher up frets. But in the meantime, let's get a bolt. Where is Allen the Allen key? Looking good, I reckon. Just buff up this neck, because you can really tell the difference when it's not buffed, obviously. The next step, which I forgot to mention, on this guitar I don't have a bridge pinned. I put my masking tape off the shape of the bridge, but I haven't actually pinned one. So the next thing I'm going to do, which I usually do pre-spraying, is drill those bridge pin holes and then get a bridge on it. And until then, when these guys have got strings on, they're going to sit for 3 weeks, because that is how a guitar remembers that it's not a tree. And while that's happening, I am going on a very special trip to Africa. I'm going to Africa because I'm going on a material exploration trip And there are a few things that I hope to achieve there, which I will let you into when I'm back. I will be bringing a camera because I will be creating lots of content while I'm there. If that sounds like something you want to follow along to, then please do hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, leave a thumbs up if you so wish, if you enjoyed this video today, and I will see you in the new year.